Alright, so in today's video we're going to set up a group of people. They are a deployment team for the new system that company has hired them for. There are a couple of different ways of doing this. We can do it manually, or we can use what they call a CSV file to upload them all at once with their information, which makes it a lot quicker to set them up. After that, we're going to make sure they can communicate with our finance team to make sure that this is processed and done correctly, meaning that they have to collaborate together in order to make sure that these new systems are working properly, tested. All of this that requires us to set up correctly in Azure Active Directory and Admin Center. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Irvin, also known as Koboman. Today we're going to talk about Office 365 in a real world type of scenario. So we're going to role play that in this case you are working as Microsoft 365 administrator and your boss came to you and said, I have multiple people that we've hired for our deployment team. Deployment team in this case is going to work on installing the new systems for the company, and we have to create profiles for them inside of Office 365 and add them to correct group. So there's a way where you can do multiple users, multiple account creations at the same time, and those ways are done in two different places. One place is in Microsoft 365 Admin Center. If you go to users and then select active users and then select add multiple users, you have an option to add multiple users at once, and then there are drawbacks and there are pluses that when it comes to doing this through the admin center. However, you can also do this through the Azure Active Directory. So here is the other place for it, and then I will show you how to do it as well. Now, things have changed in Azure Active Directory and also Microsoft 365 Admin Center. So for those reasons, it's really good to get a refresh on this. I know last year I've actually made a video on how to add multiple users in Office 365, but things are changing and you have different options now on adding multiple users, including the use of the CSV file, which we're going to talk about. And you can do this both in Microsoft 365 Admin Center and the Azure Active Directory when it comes to CSV. So basically it's an Excel file that allows you to easily upload the information for the new users, including their first name, last name, their information, whatever else that they need when it comes to in relation to that user, things like address and phone number and all of that stuff. However, it is completely different from Azure Active Directory. This is why I'm kind of stressing it. So I will show you that the CSV file for Admin Center and the Azure Active Directory is different. Very important. Before we start doing this, please do me a favor in the comment below. Just say hello, hi, or present, sort of like a roll call in the class. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It means a lot and it helps my channel a lot too. Thank you so much. Okay, here we are. So again, we are in Microsoft Microsoft 365 Admin Center. We select active users under users, and then we're going to add multiple users. Okay, and here are basically rows of things we can fill out. We got first name, we got last name, and then we got user, which is great. And then we got domain, which is basically whatever the domain this is installed on. And if you have multiple domains, you can change this. Anyways, we'll get to that. But then if you scroll down, you have an option to upload a CSV file with user information. If I select that, you get this expansion, and then you can upload the CSV file that will have all this information already pre-entered. So who would actually do this? Great example of this, if it's a good company that does this, is that you already get a CSV file from, for example, your boss or somebody else who does accounting stuff that's like HR, right? So let's say an HR department says, we've hired a bunch of these people, here's an Excel file for it, and if you are in contact with IT, hopefully they use the CSV file with predetermined parameters that will allow us to easily enter this into the system. So that's the ideal situation here, but I will show you. So here it is. We have rows of things we can fill out, and we're going to do that here. Here is an example of people that I have. We're going to use what I have, like 6 people here that are hired for our deployment team. We're going to fill out the 3 first through this system, and then we're going to do through the Azure Active Directory, we're going to do these other ones, okay? All right, so the first person is Abigail Adams. So I'm going to do copy paste action here. And of course, you know, when you get a list of names, you can do this too. You don't have to necessarily type it in. So that way you can avoid typos. And my actual last name is really long, and it's also misspelled for the company I work for, but I just never bothered to have it. So it's good to copy paste so that way you don't make a mistake, and hopefully person who sent you the list of names didn't make a mistake either. Anyways, so we got first name filled out, and here it is, Abigail. And then we got last name filled out, and which is Adams. And for username, we always have to create one for them. And the system itself is going to check to make sure that there isn't another person with a username that's the same. So we got Abigail, so I'm going to just type in all lowercase Abigail, right? And I'm just going to do Abigail A, indicating that last name. And make sure it's all lower cases so that way it's just easier, just how it is. And you don't want to, for example, have a capital A here or anything like that, because we're talking about a username here. And in case the system is case sensitive, we don't want to break the system. So it's always good to keep it the same format. So let's do Abigail A. And if there is another Abigail A, the system will check for that, and it will say, nope, there's already a person with that same name, same username, I should say. Well, let's, for example, type in Bob B. I think there's another Bob. See, it's already taken. Bob B is already taken, right? It's already been added. But if I do Bob B1, it's going to let me do it. Anyways, so we're going to go back to Abigail A, which is fine. So we got Abigail A, and then we've got Ken Bevel. First name Ken. Then we got Ken Bevel. All right, then we're going to do this Ken B. So, and this is straightforward. And if you wanted to switch to a different domain, you know, you can if there are multiple domains. In this case, there are not multiple domains. There's just one domain. So we're good there. And we've got one more, which is Alice Cooper. Alice Cooper. I know I said copy paste and I'm typing it. That's just a habit of mine. But if you want to copy paste to whatever is easier for you, please do it. So we got Ken B, and we got Alice C, and then we got Abigail A. So that's enough for me. But I got extra rows here, and I don't know if this makes a difference. If you leave them here blank like this and then select next, it's probably going to be fine. But I'm just going to click here, remove rows. 1, 2, so that way it looks clean, right? So I'm going to uncheck this. I'd like to upload CSV with user information. I'm going to uncheck that, but we will come back to it with the same users, and we're going to try to do it like that as well. Hopefully that works. You know, sometimes these things don't work properly, but we'll see. We'll see. We're definitely going to try to do a CSV file. So here we are. We got 3 people, and that's it. This is all we can do here for multiple users. So we're going to click next, and the next thing it's going to allow us to do is add a license to them. So, you know, like we did in the previous videos, I'm just going to pick this one because this is the only one that really works. And if your boss tells you, well, they're going to be part of the deployment team and they need this type of license, then you select that type of license, right? Simple as that. You follow the instructions, just like a good employee should, right? All right, so I've got this license and I'm going to pick that. So I'm going to select next. And that's it. That's all you can do here. You cannot add any more information, you know, their address, their phone numbers, none of that stuff. You cannot do it from here. You'd have to do it manually later, right? And that kind of sucks, right? So here is an example. Users added 3 users. If I click edit, it's just going to go back to where we were at. Click edit, and that's it. It goes back to that. You click next, select the license again, click next, and here this other added button. License is assigned. And guess what? If I click edit, it's going to take me back to licenses. That's it. It doesn't give me options to fill out anything else aside from their first, last name, and their username. So that's kind of unfortunate. And I could just click add users, but then I have to go back in manually and add their, you know, addresses, this and that. So hopefully I'm going to go back, and I'm not going to submit this, but I'm going to go back and I'm going to remove rows here. I'm going to remove all of these. Yeah, I'm just going to remove this here. Because what I want to do here, just in case it doesn't take it properly, I'm going to say I'd like to upload a CSV with user information. So hopefully in a real life scenario, like I said, HR has, provided this for me, right? HR has provided this for me, and then we're going to try it. All right. And this is very, very finicky, so you have to be very careful on how you edit this file format, the .csv file format. And for those reasons, I'm going to use a CSV file editor. I just find it much easier. You can do this in Excel, but there are a lot of common errors that you can come across. It says here, avoid common errors. And then there's a limit of basically 249 users per CSV file. Each user must have a unique email address. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. And then email address may only use letters, numbers, and following special characters. Email address can't begin or end with period. The part of the email address before the @ symbol can have 64 characters or less, so it can't be too long. And then you have to save the CSV file with comma delimited file with 16 columns. So meaning that there are only 16 headers. So this is one header, two header, which is also known as columns going up and down like that. Okay, so we're going to do this. We can try with a CSV file that includes example user info, but we're going to start from scratch and see how that works. So we're going to download a blank CSV file with the required headers. So here we go. I'm just going to click on this, and then I'm going to open it up in my CSV editor. So I prefer to use this here. So what's going to happen here, and well, first of all, let me add a row. Okay, so this will basically, well, let's do a couple more rows. Insert row, insert row. So we're going to do 3 of them here. Okay, so be very careful when you fill this out. Again, make sure it's, email, that everything's correct in the sense that emails are correct. Now, when you get this type of edited file, it may leave usernames blank. So for example, if you get this file that was edited by HR, they may not know what the username is going to be. So these are the parts you're going to have to edit and make sure that the username / email address is not being used by somebody else. And then they should be able to fill all of this other stuff out. And we're going to, of course, do it here as well as part of the example. And you can, what was I going to say? You can edit this with Excel, but only Excel that's for desktop. Only the desktop version of Excel. The online version of Excel, the cloud-based one, on the web-based one, cannot save as .csv. Okay, and for those reasons, I just prefer to use this editor because it's cleaner and I like the kind of pseudo 3D look to it. It's just much nicer and easier on the eyes, in my opinion. All right, so username, and we have to make sure that we are going to do the same thing as we did over here. So here is the username. So this is the part where we tell it which email / username address we're going to do. Same thing as here that we were saying. Okay, so we're just going to do, first one is Abigail, so it's going to be all lowercase, Abigail, and then we're going to do A, just like we did before, and then we're going to do at cosmicnovo.onmicrosoft.com. Okay, I was just making sure that I was recording there. And then first name, of course, we're going to type in Abigail as normal. Last name, Adams. Display name, again, we're going to follow the same type of format. So it's Abigail Adams. And let's just say she likes to be called Abby. Why not? Job title, we're going to make her lead. Basically, I'm just going to leave it as lead for that deployment department. And then here we are at the department part of it. So I'm going to type in deployment. Office number, we're going to have to come up with something here, and we're going to use the same for the other people that are in the same deployment team. Basically, they are hired to do a deployment for this system, and we're going to put them in one large office where they're all in the same room, basically. So they're going to have 3 to 6 desks, we'll see. And we're going to call it office number 4123. They're going to be on the 4th floor. Office phone number, we're gonna call it, I don't know, 555, just like we always do, 555 5555. Okay, so that's just something to have, right? And you can fill all this out. I'm going to leave this blank just like I did before for individual users when we tested this in the previous videos. So I'm not going to put in mobile phone number, and you can, of course you can. And then we have alternative email address, and we could fill all this out, but let's pretend Abigail, that Abigail works for some kind of a contractor that they're working in. We're going to call it at contractco.com. So we're going to have that in there, and we're going to fill out the address, and we're going to say it's 4200 Happy Lane. You know, of course it's made up. And then we're going to say city, we're going to say New York, and we're going to say NY for the state. Zip code, I don't know what New York zip codes are, so I'm just coming up with numbers here. But we're doing this for example. And then we got a country or a region, and we're going to type in United States. Because remember, over there, it's actually spelled out United States. So if it's other country, you're going to have to spell it out. Okay, so we're done with this. Oops, I deleted it. United States. Okay, and then we're going to add the other users. Other people that are going to work. I'm just going to extend this right here. So the next person is Ken Bevel. So it's Ken B at cosmicnovo.on Microsoft.com. First name Ken Bevel. And I'm going to fill all this out, so there's 3 of them. I'm going to speed this up in the video and then get back to you, okay? Okay, so here we are. We have filled out the first 3 users. We got Abigail, we got Ken, and then we got Alice Cooper. So we've filled all this out. As you can see, I've made some changes, changed the system, changed the job titles or roles, and then I made sure that they're all labeled as in deployment department. And then we've got all of this stuff. And we're going to double check to make sure this is actually plugged in whenever we upload this to add multiple users. Okay, so I'm going to save as, and I'm going to save it in my new hires folder. I'm going to call it deployment team. Again, make sure it's CSV file format. I'm going to save. Let's go back to our system here, and then we're going to click browse, and then we're going to select our deployment.csv file. We're going to click open, and hopefully works as long as we've done everything correctly. And it's not working. So what's going on here? Why is it not working? Let's go over this here. It says you can upload up to 249 users per CSV file. We've done that. And each user must have a unique email address. Email address may only use letters, numbers, and following special characters. Email address can't begin or end with period. The part of email address before the @ symbol can have 64 characters or less. Okay, we're good there. And then we have to save as comma delimited file with 16 columns. All right, so that's the thing that we have to see here. Is it 16 columns? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 15, 16. So it's 16 columns. We're good there. We've filled this out. Maybe it doesn't like this part of it. Maybe it's not detecting that properly. New York, alternative address, mobile phone. Should be fine if we leave this blank. Office number. Okay, department deployment. Job titles are okay. Display names are okay. First, last name. And this is at Cosmic Novo on Microsoft.com. Is this one Cosmic Novo on Microsoft.com? This one is Cosmic Novo on Microsoft.com. So maybe that was the problem. Let's go ahead and update our CSV file. Okay, we're gonna see if that worked. Click open. And that, sure enough, that's what it was. So I'm glad that that happened. So that goes to show that you have to be very careful, and especially in this case, if there is no domain. In this case, you know, if this was misspelled without the O, this domain doesn't exist. And that was the problem here. And of course, here it is. We know that this domain exists, and the system knows it's not going to create the user login or / email address if the domain doesn't exist. So you have to be very, very careful when you fill this out. Okay. All right. So far, so good. Let's click next. All right. And here it is. Select the location and product licenses for 3 users you're adding. So this is great news so far. That means it does see 3 users that we're adding. And we're going to stick with our Microsoft 365 8.3 license that we have. That's fine. We are going to make some modifications because we don't want them to have access to other stuff. So we're going to make sure that I'm going to deselect all. So I'm going to only give them access to Teams and Outlook for now, because we don't know how long these people are going to work on this deployment, right? So we're going to scroll down and we're going to add Exchange. So that's for Outlook. All right. And then we're going to look for Teams here. Microsoft Teams. And what else do they need? Well, that's it. I think I'm going to keep it at that for now. And if they need more, we can certainly go back in and make changes. Okay. Yeah, that's all I'm going to give them for now. And that should let them, that should be enough for them to get going. Of course, you can modify this. This is just what I choose to do for my system. Okay, so far so good. We've done all of this. We're going to click Add Users. And let's see what happens. All right, cool. So looks like it's working. We got display name here for the Abby. That works fine. We got for Kevin, and then we got for Alice. And looks like their usernames transferred correctly. We got passwords. We can click here, show passwords, and here are their temporary passwords. Excuse me. So I'm going to leave these passwords available here. So if you guys want to go in and log in as these people, that's fine by me and for testing purposes. So whoever gets them first, that's fine. Just for testing purposes, you can go in and test these out. And we have licenses that were added successfully to the right, which is great. I like to see all of this. So users are now added, and then we can email them sign-in information if we want to. And here it is. If I happen to be the guy who's going to give this out, which is Irvin, right, at cosmicnovo.onmicrosoft.com, I would send an email like this, and it will send me all of this information. And we're going to check it out. Why not? If I was to be the one who's going to distribute this, if working for this company, then I can send this and forward this email to the group or whoever the manager is. And I think in this case we made Abby the manager. Again, you guys, if you want to log in and send me an email to this here, and if I remember, I'm going to check it out, and I'm gonna, you're gonna be on the video, basically, is what I'm trying to say on the next video. So go ahead and send me an email on this, and yeah, let me know, or even in the comments below, let me know if you were able to get this, and it's kind of some fun thing to do. So we're gonna close this, and here we are. We see them in Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Here's Abby, here's Alice, here's Bob Bobson. But again, we have a couple of more things we need to do. We need to add them to the deployment team, as in Microsoft Teams. So that's the next thing we're going to do here. All right, so we're going to open up Azure Active Directory just to double check to see if this kind of went through. And I suggest you do this as well, just to make sure that everything is working that you're doing. Just kind of double checking your work. Again, here we are at the Azure Active Directory. I selected users, and here is Abigail, here is Alice, and here is Bob. And we can do the same thing that we do with the other users in the same manner. All right, so let's go to Azure Active Directory. We're here. We're going to select groups just to see if we have a group called deployment team. And we do, because I've created it ahead of time. And we can talk about creating groups and other things in the future videos. But for now, I went ahead and just created this, so that way we can get going with this video for this role-playing scenario where we are adding people to the deployment team group, so they can get going as soon as possible. Like I said, we're going to talk about creating groups in the future video. So here's our deployment team. We have to add these people to the deployment team. So I'm going to select this, and we're going to do it this time through the Azure Active Directory instead of through Exchange, which is fine. And then it's very simple here. Who are these people? Well, they are members. So we're going to click on members, and we're going to add them as members to this deployment team group, which should grant them access to the Teams version of that. Okay, so we're going to click on members, and looks like I'm the only member of this, which is Irvin. That's okay. We're going to click add members. And here are some people who showed up. The last people that we've added, here is Abigail, here is Alice. But you know who I don't see is Ken. That's okay. But let's kind of go down the line here. We got Abigail, here's Abigail, and we have Alice. We're going to add her. Let's scroll down. Maybe here's, let's do a quick, well, we can do a search. Well, here's Ken. Here's Ken. We found Ken. All right, so we got 3 people selected here. We're going to click select, and 3 group members successfully added. So if I refresh, like I said, if I refresh, there they are. It took a second there. That's okay. Now we've got them added as members. Now let's go to Teams and see if they are actually in there. We're going to go to Teams. You can access it through Microsoft Admin Center here. We're going to go through Teams and see what we see, right? See what we see inside of Teams. Okay, so this is Teams Admin Center, which is not to be confused with Teams that are Teams that you use as a user, right? So this is where I manage Teams instead of using Teams as in communication device. Okay, so and we showed that in a previous video as well. So we're going to select on Teams right up here, right? We got users, and maybe we can manage users, but I'm going to manage Teams here. So the first option here, come on, I don't know why it's disappearing like that. Manage Teams, and we've got our deployment team right down here. We're going to check to see if everything went through deployment team, and we can check the members. Here they are. Alice, Abigail, and Ken are in there as well. So that's great, and they're listed as members, and Irvin is listed as the owner. So that's perfectly fine. That means we can use, they can use Teams to do communications, and we can add other people to this. So let's say we want to add somebody from finance department, because in this case we're going to keep going with the finance team. They're deploying a system for a finance team department. So for that, we're going to add a member in there. So by selecting add members here through the Teams Admin Center. So again, remember we just did it through the Azure Active Directory. So this is the same thing, except we're doing it through Teams. So we're going to add one person that is a manager from finance department. We're going to add them into this group so they can collaborate. Okay, so we're going to search display, and I forget who my team, I was going to say who my team lead is, but who my manager, I think it's Sally, right? Guys, remember Sally? We've done this. There she is. Sally Moe. We're going to add Sally Moe, and sure enough, she's the manager. And we've talked about Sally in my early Office 365 videos that I've made, and we created her. Apply. There we go. We've added Sally into the system, and she is the finance department manager, and she can now communicate at the same time with these people that are inside of the same deployment group. So she's added in there, she's inside of Teams, and she can communicate with them. And we can certainly check this. Well, let me see how we can do this. Let's do. I'm gonna open up in a different sign in. I'm gonna sign in as Sally because we already have her. Sally Mo. Where's signing Sally? Here's Sally Mo. We're gonna sign in as her. We're gonna go to Teams. Okay, I gotta use my authenticator. All right, if you heard that, that's authenticator asking me to approve. So this is a multi-factor authentication that we've set up before. All right. So in this case, Sally is pretend doing this. So here we are. We're going to go to Teams and we're going to log in as her. All right, Sally Mo. And now when we go in, it should just appear just like normal for all the versions that she has access to. And sure enough, she is part of finance group. She's also part of collab group, and here she is part of also deployment team. So automatically it's added to her teams. Here's a notification here. Let's see what it says. It says Irvin added you to the deployment team, which is just lovely and perfect, right? So if when she goes to the deployment team, she can chat with them. Let's just kind of see. This is in finance group. You can see she was chatting with them, blah, blah, blah. We can see in the previous video that Johnny Depp joined. And, you know, if she goes back to Teams and then clicks deployment, we can see that nobody is here yet. And I'm going to say, as Sally, I'm going to say, welcome to our company. Looking forward to working with you. All right, I am terrible at spelling because English is my second language. All right, that's okay. Thank God for spell checker, right? All right, we got, yeah, that. I think I'm going to leave it at that. I apologize. I know I said I was going to add these other ones as well, but I feel like this video is kind of getting too long. So we're going to leave it for something else. So in the next video, we're going to work on that. And yeah, so what are the key takeaways from this is that you can add multiple users. Make sure that you're using the correct deployment team. Well, I was reading this here. To make sure you use correct file format, which is .csv when using these templates, and that make sure that everything is spelled correctly, especially the domain here. So this most likely you will be the one who's going to create usernames. So even when you do get this file from HR, you're going to have to create these. So if it's not working, most likely the spelling of domain is broken and it's not correct. You can also do the same thing through the Azure Active Directory. If we go back to the Azure Active Directory users and then do select bulk operation, and if we say bulk create, right, with bulk create, we can also download a CSV template and we can do the same stuff and then upload it. So you can do this through the Azure Active Directory as well, and it's done very much the same way. I think the template might be slightly different. I don't know if they changed this or not, but it's not a big deal. You do it the same way as we've done it over here as well. So I think that's enough for this video. I'm gonna leave it at that. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments. I do have a second channel as well, which is a knowledge-based channel. Over there, every other day, there's something new coming out, new videos, and there are shorter version videos for the purpose of being the knowledge base. Over there are over 100 videos at this time. But again, every other day, there's a new video coming out, and they are going to be for the purpose of finding solutions to things that you are looking for. So if you're doing tech support right now, that's going to be a great place for you. It's a great place for you right now if you want to go in there and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. But eventually, I hope to have thousands of videos over there for the purpose of being able to find a quick solution to anything that you're searching for, and give you an idea on how to fix it, or even a fix. So there you go. I hope you have a wonderful day and take care. Bye bye.